What is Strategic Command World War II World at War? This game is a hex-based strategy war game set in World War II. It's turn-based. You have several different options for how to play the game. PBEM++, which is like a back-and-forth multiplayer mode where you take your turn, opponent takes their turn, goes back and forth. It's asynchronous, so you don't both have to be present at the same time. Hot seat, this is a fancy way to say you could play at the same computer, basically. And then, of course, what probably most players are going to be playing is single player, where you have a bunch of different campaigns by default. The main attraction being the 1939 World at War. Almost certainly, it can list out the victory conditions. The game has a nice big manual to tell you how to play it. When you do start up a game, you have to pick what side. In the base campaign, which is what this is, the Axis always starts. It will clarify to you whose turn comes first. You could play as either the Axis or the Allies. You don't have to play as every single country on the side. You can click on some of these and designate them as being controlled by AI. If you only want to play one or two, or specifically don't want to play as one particular nation, when you finish your turn and hit end turn, the AI will fill in for you, doing what you have not already done on nations that you have designated with this little marker right here. So this would mean only playing Germany. There's a ton of difficulty settings that you can change here, and I mean a ton because this isn't it. You go into advanced, you can even go into the scripts and see every single script in the game that fires off, and even AI things as well, like AI specific scripts of how they behave, and modify them, and all these other settings to get a game state and just generally a game you would want to play. You can even change the border style here, and I know this is a big thing for certain players. They don't like these counters as much, so you can modify them if you so choose. When you get into the game, there are events that pop up. Some of these are historical in flavor and they happen between turns. Some of them are strategic advice. This is more strategic advice on how to play the game rather than on historical events. A lot of the strategic advice will be based on foresight and replicating what happened in the war, not the reality of the time. And there are also events that can pop up as well, where you will get a choice between two different actions and two different results. For example, as the Axis, later in the war, you'll get the opportunity to get Peru to join you. You could also choose not to get them to join you. Why would you choose not to? Because it costs money. MPPs, also known as money. Just about everything you do in this game costs money, whether you are reinforcing an injured unit with 8 strength, for example, back up to 10, whether you are upgrading a unit or fortification, a location with things like anti-air, infantry weapons, mobility, you name it. You could upgrade planes as well. Whether you go and build entirely new units or research, you can also research new technologies to unlock upgrades, be they passive or requiring active upgrade, or even put this money into turning neutral nations to your side. So if you want to see a World War II where Saudi Arabia gets involved on the side of the Axis, well, you can do that. The game does not make it easy to go ahistorical with the diplomacy feature, but it is still a feature. And it's all these things that cost money. There are even convoy lines marked here on the map that you can use to send money from certain countries to other countries. These are preset and you cannot create new ones. Even though in most instances the game will push you towards, especially using events, recreating history and historical war declarations, you could always go to the war map at any time and declare war on whoever you want for whatever reason that you want. Every turn is roughly 14 days or so, and that's back and forth. So I would do everything I want to do. My turn, hit end turn. 14 days would have passed. Now it's the Allied turn. They do their turn, hit end turn. 14 more days will pass. So I'll get to do my thing once every month in-game time. Combat has projections, for example, showing here if I wanted this army to attack this army, you'd see I would lose, it's projecting, 1 strength, and the enemy would lose 2. This is just a projection, mind you. it's not exactly what's going to happen unless you go into the options and make it so that there's never any variables that you have to deal with. All major powers that are on your side, which are predetermined at the start of the game, will be placed here on the left. Minor powers get assigned to a major power. You can kind of see, like Argentina would get assigned to America if they joined the Allies. It shows whoever they're leaning towards, or sometimes at 0, it'll just show a random side. Sometimes it won't. It really just depends. The Allies would have a much longer list here. It does not grow, and it doesn't really shrink very much either. The morale of all major nations is located up here. Here's an example of looking at the victory conditions. There are more victory conditions than this for minor and major victories if you hit the end date of the game, but you can also turn having an end game off completely. The game has a lot of graphs that you can look at. Right now there's nothing on them because we just started a game. But this game has a lot of graphs that you can look at, and it has sheets that can detail all the losses that every single major in the game loses, including any minors that are underneath them as well. The game has a plethora of historical events. It has some varying scenarios, a I'd say, active modding community as well. And so in a short and hopefully concise format and manner, that is what Strategic Command World War II World at War specifically is, not to be confused with War in Europe. That is a different game. That is the predecessor to this game. This one takes place over the scope of the entire world. The other one is more zoomed in and is on a bigger scale in only Europe. This is the game you want if you want to experience the Pacific theater, as the other one completely lacks it, as well as any other theater outside of pretty much just what we're looking at right here. But I hope that this has been a helpful little introduction to you. I plan on making a series of guides to teach you the things that I learned while playing this game. Let me know if there's anything in particular you'd like to see covered in this game or this series. For now, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you in another video.